Check that out. It's the first day of school? Hey, good morning. You on your way to school now? Oh, alright, alright. You ain't got but one more year after this one. That's crazy. Yep, yep, absolutely. Wow, that's crazy. Well, I hope you have a good first day and like all your teachers and everything. That'd be the thing for me, man. Yeah. What's that? Oh, in front. Yeah, yeah, right. I seen that. Hey, and you know what? You know what? My first thought was he might actually get it. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Hey, the young man might get. Might hey, we might have a future mayor in the family. So I like it. No, no. Yeah, and I don't think there's like any particular educational background. Even like to be the president, all you need is a high school diploma. You don't have to have no education past that to be the president. No, yeah. So I can imagine like a mayor. You just gotta think what's good for the city. Yeah. So yep. So it's I don't know. Hey, hey, hey. Look. Corrupt pilot. So we got there's a lady mayor in Scranton right now. She's been there for about I think 4 years, three years. But the dude who was mayor before her, he doing fed time, for laundering money, embezzlement, all that kind of stuff. So, and and he was the mayor for a while. I mean, I think he was reelected, so he did more than just one term in there. And people thought he was a good dude, but some paperwork started coming out. The money was disappearing left and right. And then his homeboys getting certain contracts and no big contracts for certain deals around the city and stuff. And it was like, whoa. And then even the people that I paid my property taxes to, they were in that shit some kind of way, letting them slide on certain property taxes. Yo, it's crazy. But anyway, the mayors, yeah, you gotta watch mayors because that's like the person you should be able to go talk to. Honestly, like most people can't get at the president, but you should be able to. Anybody should be able to go talk to their mayor. You can just arrange a meeting and say, hey, I don't like that comes, trash pickup comes so late in the day, or I don't. Bye, princess. Um, Yeah, so I mean, it's a demanding job, and you should be held accountable for the people. Like, they should be able to come. You should be able to go talk to your mayor and your chief of police, and none of the motherfuckers who run the community. So even at the same time, if you gotta be doing the right thing because people, hey, motherfuckers ain't gonna goddamn. Mayor get looked at real hard. So that's my only thing, man. People look at the mayor hard as hell. If you can't be squeaky clean, somebody else want the job. They gonna throw your ass under the bus. Then you gotta be able to. My thing is, I want to hear him debate, like campaign, like why does he feel like he deserves to be the mayor? Yeah, I mean, he's from the county. He's grown up in the county, lived in the county most of his life. Now he actually lives in the city, and he's been living in the city for several years. And I don't know how much, community service or volunteer work he does through the churches he works with. As soon as your opponent start doing a little digging, trying to find some stuff, as long as you good, bro. So, I thought Monty Bell was gonna go for mayor of Hartsville one time. To who? Yeah, I think Monty is a year older than me. So yeah, you're right in between us. Now he got his own law firm or something. Hmm. Yeah, him and Chad, they do a lot of stuff. I think Chad even got a scholarship. He's a yep, engineer, and he still does active military service too. Yeah, he got a house in he's still over there in Darlington. Like I say, these people, yeah, these people never left. Yo, Monty never really left Hartsville. I don't think. And yep. Chad did the same thing. Like these people stay home. Like those are good community people. I trust these people because they grew up here. They know this area. They know what's needed. And that's even with John Wayne. Like you grew up around this shit, motherfucker. You know what needs to be done to make it better or a little better. So just do that and do it right, and that's it. you know, you got my vote. Shit. Or try to get in there and do some slimy shit and use that to advance his own position. That's the thing. This. You are answering to the community. You get a little paycheck, but you're not trying to use this to advance yourself. I think a lot of these positions should be volunteer. So keep a regular job. You know, be the mayor. Well, nah, the mayor is like that is a big job. Like some city council positions and stuff like that, man. Y'all should be volunteer. Y'all don't need to get paid. If you really want a good community, you do that shit for free. You know? That's why I would never go for politics or be a police officer because I'm gonna abuse the system. I know myself. I'm gonna take advantage. I already know. So let me just stay the hell about that shit. 'Cause that ain't for me. You know? Exactly. Exactly. I can help out like that. these extra, man, like that's just community service is needed so much, Yeah, that's why I like my job. So I don't know. This is the first time I've actually like doing something. Yeah, your community is where you live. So we here now. No, I actually took the day off. I took Friday and today off. I went down to with the family court on Friday morning. I just filed for a hearing. Yep. Well, for the child support because I talked to his old counselor where he was at, and she gave me two dates on their company letterhead saying that he was admitted into one facility. I forgot the exact date, but that was in 2020. And then he came to her facility in early 2022, and then she released him from there in last year. Um, no, he left. I think he went from one place to the other one. But anyway, he's been out the house since 2020, the whole time. So Ain't no way in hell. What the hell? I really need to be on my laptop, but the reels are so funny right now. All right.
Are you counting money again? Yeah, I have to. This is all we've got to survive on for 2 whole weeks. It's true, we can't live without it. But you must remember, there's something else in this world that's far more precious than money. Your friends, dear. I don't think I get it. Sorry, ma'am. Look, Yuichi, you know what the most important thing in this world is. Of course I do. It's money, right? Are you
evidence of the mud flood everywhere. Here's a tour on my small town in Wisconsin. Just look at this factory. That door right there goes a whole 10 feet below that ground and then drops another 10 feet below that. This is a very old factory built in the 1800s. You can see some pictures of it right here. Look how old that door is and how far down it goes. It's like one of those giant doors from one of my giant videos. And here's just walking down the streets and you can see all the buried windows. I love the whole raised street level excuses. Like you would put these big giant windows right on the street level, with all the dirt and rock and gravel being kicked up by the horse carriages and the muddy unpaved streets. It's the same silly narrative though, with all the buried undergrounds across the world, all the great fires happening all around the same time. When there is original brickwork still on these buildings, especially near downtowns, just look for those arches, the telltale signs of the mud-flooded layers. I like this archway tucked right behind this ugly little planter. But this is in nearly every city and every town and country in this realm. The evidence of our buried past right beneath our feet. And here's a little example of what happens when they dig up beneath the ground level in Shelbyville, Illinois. Completely baffled as to why 4 to 5 meters of the city was just buried and forgotten about. But like my town in Wisconsin and all over, you can find the same. Question everything, friends.
You know I like you, don't you?
Yes?
And I hope you like me the way I like you.
Yes?
I was wondering if you would be my girl. I have something I want to tell you.
Yes, Michael?
I'm not like other guys.
That's why I love you.
No, I mean I'm different.
What are you talking about? Can we get out of here?
No, I'm enjoying this.
Well, I can't watch.
What's it say?
You were scared, weren't you?
I wasn't that scared.
Yeah, you were scared. It's close to midnight.
Oh my god, who the fuck did this? Who? Who the hell did that?
Hold on.
That's what I'm talking about. This is a sweet potato pie. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That hat never hit the ground, but the ass whoopings was passed around. And the drop of the hat, niggas was getting smacked. Beep, 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 beep. They were everywhere. They had niggas swimming across the motherfucking ocean. I didn't even know niggas could go in sport mode.
the hell? Yo, everybody's talking about this fight, yo.
Fun fact about grizzly bears: when a grizzly charges, most of the time it's a bluff charge.
And see, here's the thing, like, I've been watching this man content for years. Know he a good guy. Great dude, knows his stuff about these animals, man. 99.9% of the time, I can trust his word to the T. And that 0.1%, he gonna find out that he was wrong, and then he gonna let us know the proper information. Never gonna find out if it's a blood charge or not. You know why? Because I ain't gonna go nowhere near a bear to begin with.
Grizzly charges, most of the time it's a. Fun fact about grizzly bears: when a grizzly charges, most of the time it's a bluff charge.
And see, here's the thing.
See, yo, this is why I can't get shit done, man. Alright, focus, motherfucker. Focus. Jesus Christ. Now, I'm flipping hungry. Shit. I have accomplished nothing in an hour. No, that's a lie. I did talk to my sister for a minute. That's something. I'm looking for inspiration for prompts. Let's look up, guess I'm having a good problem in a way. So the scenery and the imagery that I'm trying to create, I'm looking for other people who have done like similar stuff so I can see how or what they use as prompts and see if I can dissect their prompt and maybe use some of that to help me. But at the same time, I'm actually not seeing anybody who's trying to make anything very similar to what I'm doing. So I guess it's a good and a bad problem. I don't know why is it. I don't know what is. Why is it doing that? Yeah. So I guess I'm having a good problem here. My shit is so different. But I did get some inspiration from one thing that I saw, honestly, and I might have to save this for reference. You know why? How do I? Oh, I don't wanna. I don't wanna do that. I wanna. I just. Well, I really just wanted to. Hmm. Okay, so these is somewhat similar, maybe to the concept I'm thinking of. Maybe kind of not really. little bit, but I should definitely gonna be better than this. Let me see what this prompt is here. Hmm. This looks kind of interesting. Alright, I gotta go grab something to eat real quick.
So the near-term problem of just what humans do with increasingly powerful AI and how it amplifies the problem of misinformation and disinformation, and just makes it harder and harder to make sense of reality together. And then there's just the longer term concern about what's called alignment with artificial general intelligence, where we build AI that is truly general and by definition superhuman in its competence and power. And then the question is, have we built it in such a way that is aligned in a durable way with our interests? And there's some people who just don't see this problem. They're kind of blind to it. When I'm in the presence of someone who doesn't share this intuition, they don't resonate to it, I just don't understand what they're doing or not doing with their minds in that moment. Let's say I'm wrong about that. Well, then it's just the other person's right, and so we just have fundamentally different intuitions about this particular point. And then the point is this: if you're imagining building true artificial general intelligence that is superhuman, and that is what everyone, whatever their intuitions, purports to be imagining here. And there are people on both sides of the alignment debate. The people who think alignment's a real problem, and people who think it's a total fiction. But everyone, virtually everyone who's party to this conversation agrees that we will ultimately build artificial general intelligence that will be superhuman in its capacities. And there's very little you have to assume to be confident that we're going to do that. And it's really just two assumptions. One is that intelligence is substrate independent, right? It doesn't have to be made of meat. It can be made in silico, right? And we've already proven that with narrow AI. And we obviously have intelligent machines, and your calculator in your phone is better than you are at arithmetic, and that's some very narrow band of intelligence. So as we keep building intelligent machines on the assumption that there's nothing magical about having a computer made of meat, the only other thing you have to assume is that we will keep doing this. We will keep making progress, and eventually we will be in the presence of something more intelligent than we are. And that's not assuming Moore's law. It's not assuming exponential progress. We just have to keep going, right? And when you look at the reasons why we wouldn't keep going, those are all just terrifying, right? Because intelligence is so valuable, and we're so incentivized to have more of it, and every increment of it is valuable. It's not like it only gets valuable when you get, when you double it or 10x it. No, if you just get 3% more, right? That pays for itself. So we're going to keep doing this. Our failure to do it suggests that something terrible has happened in the meantime, right? We've had a world war. We've had a global pandemic far worse than COVID. We got hit by an asteroid. Something happened that prevented us as a species from continuing to make progress in building intelligent machines, right? So absent that, we're going to keep going. We will eventually be in the presence of something smarter than we are. And this is where intuitions divide. My intuition, and it's shared by many people, and I'm sure, and I know at least one who you've spoken to, my intuition is that there is something inherently dangerous for the dumber party in that relationship. There's something inherently dangerous for the dumber species to be in the presence of the smarter species. And we have seen this, based on our entanglement with all other species dumber than we are, right, or certainly less competent than we are. And by reasoning by analogy, it would be true of something smarter than we are. People imagine that because we have built these machines, that is no longer true, right? But and here's where my intuition goes from there. That imagination is born of not taking intelligence seriously, right? Because what intelligence is a mismatch in intelligence in particular is a fundamental lack of insight into what the smarter party is doing and why it's doing it and what it will do next. on the part of the dumber party, right? So, I mean, you just can imagine that, by analogy, just imagine that dogs had invented us as their super intelligent AIs, right? For the purpose of making their lives better, just securing resources for them, securing comfort for them, getting them medical attention. It's been working out pretty well for the dogs for about 10,000 years, right? I mean, there's some exceptions. We mistreat certain dogs, but generally speaking, for most dogs, most of the time, humans have been a great invention, right? Now, it's true that the mismatch in our intelligence dictates a fundamental blindness with respect to what we've become in the meantime, right? So we have all these instrumental goals and things we care about that they cannot possibly conceive, right? They know that when we go get the leash and say it's time for a walk, they understand that particular part of the language game. But everything else we do when we're talking to each other, when we're on our computers or on our phones, they don't have the dimmest idea of what we're up to. And if something happened, the truth is we love our dogs. We make just irrational sacrifices for our dogs. We prioritize their health over all kinds of things that is just amazing to consider. And yet, if we learn, if there was a new global pandemic kicking off and some xenovirus was jumping from dogs to humans, and it was just super Ebola, right? It was 90% lethal, and this was just a forced choice between, I mean, what do you value more, the lives of your dogs or the lives of your kids, right? If that's the situation we were in, it's totally conceivable. I mean, it's not by no means impossible. We would just kill all the dogs, right? And they would never know why, right? And it's because we have this layer of mind and culture and just the new sphere, right? There's just this realm of mind that requires a requisite level of intelligence to even be party to, even know exists, that they have no idea it exists, right? And so this is a fanciful analogy because the dogs did not invent us, but evolution invented us, right? Evolution has coded us, as I said, to survive and spawn, and that's it, right? So evolution can't see everything else we've done with our time and attention and all the values we've formed in the meantime, and all the ways in which we have explicitly disavowed the program we've been given, right? So evolution gave us a program, but if we were really going to live by the lights of that program, what would we be doing? We would be having as many kids as possible, right? The guys would be going to sperm banks and donating their sperm and finding that like the best use of their time and attention. I mean, it's like the idea that you could have hundreds of kids for which you have no financial responsibility. That should be the most rewarding thing that you could possibly do with your time as a man. And yet that's obviously not what we do. And there are people who decide not to have kids, and there are people who and everything else we do, from having podcast conversations like this to curing diseases to just literally everything we're doing with science, with culture, is, yes, there are points of contact between those products and our evolved capacities, right? It's not magic, right? We are social primates that have leveraged certain ancient hardware to do new things. But evolution, the code that we've been given, doesn't see any of that, right? And we've not been optimized to build democracies, right? Evolution knows nothing. It can know nothing. If evolution were a coder, there's no democracy maximization in that code, right? It's just not there. So the idea that these things will stay aligned with us because we have built them, because we have this origin story, that we gave them their initial code, and yet we gave them a capacity to rewrite their code and build future generations of themselves, right? There's just no reason to believe that. I see no, and the mismatch in intelligence is intrinsically dangerous. And you could see this by, it's just Stuart Russell. I don't know if you had him on the podcast. He's a great professor of computer science at Berkeley, and he literally co-wrote one of the most popular textbooks on AI. He has some arresting analogies, which I think are good intuition pumps here. And one is, just think of how you would feel if you knew, let's we got a communication from elsewhere in the galaxy, and it was a message that we decoded, and it said, "People of Earth, we will arrive on your lowly planet in 50 years. Get ready." Right? Anyone who thinks that we're going to get super intelligent AI in, let's say, 50 years, thinks we're essentially in that situation, and yet we're not responding emotionally to it in the same way. If we received a communication from a species that we knew, just by the sheer fact that they were communicating with us in this way, we knew they're more competent and more powerful and more intelligent than we are, right? And they're going to arrive, right? We would feel that we were on the threshold of the most momentous change in the history of our species. And we would feel, but most importantly, we would feel that it's because this is a relationship, an unavoidable relationship that's being foisted upon us, right? It's like a new creature is coming into the room, right, with its own capacities, and now you're in relationship. And one thing is absolutely certain: it is smarter than you are, right? By what factor? I mean, ultimately, we're talking about by factors, just by so many orders of magnitude. Our intuitions completely fail. I mean, even if it was just a difference in the time of processing, even if let's say there was no difference in the actual native intelligence, but there's just processing speed. A millionfold difference in processing speed is just a phantasmagorical difference in capacity. Just imagine we had 10 smart guys in a room over there, and they were working and thinking and talking a million times faster than we are, right? Well, so they're no smarter than we are, but they're just faster. And we talk to them once every 2 weeks just to catch up on, what they're up to and what they want to do and whether they still want to collaborate with us. Well, 2 weeks for us is 20,000 years of analogous progress for them. So how could we possibly hope to constrain the opinions and collaborate with and negotiate with people no smarter than ourselves who are making 20,000 years of progress every time we make 2 weeks of progress? Right? It's just it's unimaginable, and yet there are many people that just think this is just fiction. All the noises I've made in the last 5 minutes are just like a new religion of fear, right? And it's just, there's no reason to think that alignment is even a potential problem.
If your intuition is correct, and that analogy of us getting a signal from outer space that someone is coming in 30 years, which, by the way, a lot of people that speak on this subject matter don't believe it's even going to be 30 years.
Yeah.
Until we reach that sort of singularity moment. I think they speak of artificial general intelligence. I've heard people like Elon say, many fewer decades, 10 years, 15 years, right. 20 years, etc. If that is correct, then surely this is the most pressing challenge, conversation, issue of our time. And there's no logical reason that I can see to refute your intuition there. I can't see a logical reason. The rate of progress will continue. Don't necessarily see anything that will wipe out or pause our rate of progress.
Let me just to be charitable to the other side here. There are other assumptions that they smuggle in that some people, some do it without being aware of it, but some actually believe these assumptions, and this spells the difference on this particular intuition. So it's possible to assume that the more intelligent you get, the more ethical you become by definition, right? Now, and we might, draw a somewhat more equivocal picture from just the human case, where we see that, well, oh, there's some very smart people who aren't that ethical, but I believe there are people, I mean, I've talked to at least a few people who believe this. There are people who assume that kind of in the limit, as you push out into just far beyond human levels of intelligence, there's every reason to believe that all of the provincial, creaturely failures of human ethics will be left behind as well. It's like you're not like the selfishness and the basis for conflict. Like these are not going to, the apish urges of status seeking monkeys is just not. It's not going to be in the code, and as you push out into just kind of the omnibus genius of the coming AI, there's a kind of a sainthood that's going to come along with it, right? And a wisdom that will come along with it. Now, I just think that's quite a gamble. I think I would take the other side of that bet, and I would frame it this way: there have to be ways in the space of all possible intelligences that are beyond the human, right? There's got to be more than one possible. There's got to be, just like there's many different ways to have a chess engine that's better than I am at chess. They're different from each other, but they're all better than me, right? There's got to be more than one way to have a superhuman artificial intelligence, and I would imagine there are, not an infinite number of ways, but just a vast number of in the space of all possible minds, there are many locations in that space beyond the human that are not aligned with human well-being. Right? There's got to be more ways to build this unaligned than aligned, right? And what other people are smuggling into this conversation is the intuition that no, once you get beyond the human, you're going to be in the presence of, just the Buddha who understands quantum mechanics and.
This is probably one of the most boring streams ever. I'm actually getting a wrist cramp like this. But I'm actually trying to do more prompt building on Midjourney, which is an AI generating software tool, and I'm having issues trying to construct the proper prompts. Okay. Try reversing the order of details. There's a lot of little things on here that this little spreadsheet I just found. Well, not a spreadsheet, but like suggestion list is pretty cool actually. So it says clarinets troubleshooting Midjourney text prompts, Discord contact. Prompts tend to benefit from this sort of template guideline. This is not a hard rule, but a soft suggestion that many people use to improve their prompting. for Midjourney 5, soft templates is subject, other details and surroundings, stylization, media types and artists, and parameters. And so the early bits, the middle bits, the last bits, the end bit. The subject, see, and this is where I listened to one other guy and it said put the details and surroundings first and then the I don't know. I guess I'm doing it wrong still. So the subject, botanical, what? Bearded fairy prince, flowing hair, sky eyes, symmetrical, mossy altars, intensely sad gaze, wearing a floral diadem, magical details, twilight atmosphere, in the style of Art Germ, Alyssa Monks, Studio Ghibli, close up, glamour shot, V5, aspect ratio 9:16. Okay, so I kind of get all of that. Midjourney test, test and test soft prompt. Early bits, middle bits, last bits, end bits. So they did just like reverse the order in which they inputted stuff. That's how I do mine in a different order. Prepositional phrases aren't reliable, so try these other methods instead. Use adjective, noun, word other to replace prepositional phrases. Replace prepositional phrases with evocated adjectives. Hair flowing in the wind, you should just say flowing hair. Eyes the color of sunset, you should just say sunset eyes. Instead of saying a carrot for a nose, just say carrot nose. Okay. Increase specificity at every opportunity. Use words that carry the role context of the stuff you want to see. Words that are baggage do more work for you. Use archetypes or stock characters. Wearing glasses and carrying an apple, a school teacher. Wearing a yellow hat at a light, a fireman. Riding a bicycle, a cyclist. Wearing a wedding dress, a bride. Okay, so try to shorten everything right to the point as possible. Quality sometimes matter. When the quality command is available, you might consider using higher values. When you use higher values of quality, you're giving Midge permission to bake things for a longer time in the GPU oven. It's spending your GPU minutes. The more GPU minutes you spend, the better the output quality. Not aesthetic quality, but technical quality. If the best your prompt can produce is incoherent garbage, you'll get to see that incoherent garbage at its highest technical quality. What is, I've never used that dash quality. Q value, what are you saying with it? 0.25, I want a very quick sketch of something this prompt might produce. At value 1, I need higher quality because I want a clear picture of what this prompt might do for me. All the way up to value 5. I want the best quality you can give me for this prompt. Okay. I didn't know you can do that. Punctuation does matter, but kind of, but no, but yes, but no. 3 punctuation types have any programmatic effect. So double hyphens, parameters, double colons is integers. Space are used as a de facto notion to separate tokens. So there is a affect special noise. So I don't have to use a comma, I guess. I can just enter space. Intriguing noise. All punctuations add what is called intriguing noise. Sometimes comma noise and hyphen noise can be helpful noise. Correct use of commas is recommended to help grouping just like it does in ordinary writing. Sometimes when troubleshooting, hyphenation may increase the relationship between tokens. Antique brass candlestick, but you could type it as antique hyphen or brass hyphen antique hyphen candlestick. You can use weights, double colons to create some special effects. I tried using weights yesterday. I gotta get the hang of that. Troubleshooting. You can play with negative words. Midjourney defines things in terms of their most dominant standard characteristics. Departures from the standard mean Midjourney doesn't recognize it anymore. One method to invoke an object that breaks the archetype is to figure out what tokens allow for it. For example, you can get a woman with green skin, but you can get a green skinned female humanoid because to Midjourney, a woman can not have green skin per the archetype of humans, but a humanoid can have green skin per the archetype of non-humans. Use sentence-like fragments, not wordless. A young woman walks across campus will work better than woman young walking campus. Style your art, make it your own. To generate something other than a photographic image, you will need to reference art, movement, artistic techniques, genres, media types, game titles, directors, artist names, influencers, time periods, etc. to invoke the aesthetic style of an image. Try referencing 2 or more of these, art movement. Identifying an art movement in the prompt will introduce its style and technique Examples include impressionism, surrealism, or pop art. Media type, media title, artist name. Technique, referencing technique will add that style to the image. Examples include impasto, pencil sketch, watercolor, or digital art. Time period, geographic location. Referencing regions and countries will influence style. Examples include Japan, or African tribal art, or American abstract expressionism. Alright, so this is a little PDF I can come back to. And I do most of these things and I'm still not getting what I want. This one right here says create interesting aesthetics. Prompt in a column header. Other conditions. Yo, good morning, guys. My bad. Show wasn't paying attention. What's up, though? Alright, let me see if I reverse some of this prompt. What happened?
see what this does. Yo, P, what's up, bro? I had this issue yesterday when I put in the prompt and it didn't go through. Because it normally would have started generating by now, but it's doing nothing. It's telling me to wait. Oh, there it goes. Hmm? Really? This is what I get? Hmm. Mm-hmm. Try this again. Clear the printer spool. Um, hmm. My head. I just ate something, but I'm still hungry. I need something else to eat. Honestly. had to make a BLT real quick.
Technology and everything else, right? I just see no reason to think that that's so, and we could build something that is, again, taking intelligence seriously. We're going to build something that we're in relationship to. It's really intelligent in all the ways that we're intelligent. It's just better at all of those things than we are. It's, by definition, superhuman, because the only way it wouldn't be superhuman, the only way it would be human level, even for 15 minutes, is if we didn't let it improve itself, if we wanted to just keep it stuck at, we built a college undergraduate and we wanted just to keep it stuck there, but we would have to dumb down all of the specific capacities we've already built, right? Just like every AI we have, narrow AI, is superhuman for the thing it does. It has access to all the information on the internet, right? It's just like it's got perfect memory. It can perfectly copy itself. When one part of the system learns something, the rest of the system learns it because it just can swap files, right? Your phone is a superhuman calculator. There's no reason to make it a calculator that is human level. And so we're never going to do that. We're never going to be in the presence of human AGI. We will be immediately in the presence of superhuman AGI, and then the question is how quickly it improves and how much headroom is there to improve into. On the assumption that you can get quite a bit more intelligent than we are, right? That we're nowhere near the summit of possible intelligence. You have to imagine that you're going to be in the presence of something that is, again, it could be completely unconscious, right? I'm not saying that there's something that's like to be this thing, although there might be. That's a totally different problem that's worth worrying about. But whether conscious or not, it is solving problems, detecting problems, improving its capacity to do all of that in ways that we can't possibly understand. And the products of its increasing competence are always being surfaced, right? So it's like we've been using it to change the world. We've become reliant upon it. We built this thing for a reason. I mean, one thing that's been amazing about the developments in recent months is that those of us who have been at all cognizant of the AI safety space for now going on a decade or more for some people, always assumed that as we got closer to the end zone, that the labs would become more circumspect. We'd be building this stuff air-gapped from the internet. It's like we have this phrase, air-gapped from the internet. Like we thought this was a thing. Like this thing would be in a box. And then the question would be, well, do we let it out of the box and let it do something? Right? Like, is it safe? And how do we know if it's safe? Right? And we thought we would have that moment. We thought it would happen in a lab at Google or at Facebook or somewhere. We thought we would hear, okay, we've got something really impressive, and now we just want it to touch the stock market, or we want it to touch our medical data, or we just want to see if we can use it. We're way past that, right? We built this stuff already in the wild. It's already connected to the internet. it's already got millions of people using it. It already has APIs. It's already doing work. So that, I mean, from an AI safety point of view, it's amazing. Like, we didn't even have the moment, the choice point we thought was going to be so fraught.
Of course we didn't. We because there was such pressing incentives for people to press forward regardless of that conversation, especially.
But yeah, everyone thought. I mean, I don't believe I was ever in conversation with someone like Eliezer Yudkowsky or Nick Bostrom or Stuart Russell, who assumed we would be in this spot. Like, because I'd have to go back and look at those conversations, but there was so much time spent, it seems quite unnecessarily, on this idea that we'd make a certain amount of progress and circumspection would kick in. Like, even the people who were doubters would become worried, and there would be, like, in the final yards, as we cross into the end zone, there'd be some mode where we could sort of slow down and figure it out and try to deal with the arms race dynamics. Like, let's place a phone call to China and just like, let's talk about this. We got something interesting. But the stuff is already being built in connection to everything. And there's already just endless businesses being devised on the back of this thing. And all the improvements are going to get plowed into it. And so just imagine what this looks like even in success, right? Like, let's say it just starts working wonders for us, and we get these great productivity gains, and okay, so then we cross into the whatever the singularity is, right? At whatever speed we find ourselves in the presence of something that is truly general. After all of this narrow stuff, albeit superhuman narrow stuff, is something that we totally depend on, right? Like, every hospital requires it, and every airplane requires it, and all of our missile systems require it, and this is the way we do business. There's nothing to turn off at that point. I mean, I just don't, it's like, I put this to Mark Andreessen on my podcast, and he said, yeah, you can turn off the internet. And I can't believe he was quite serious. I mean, yes, if you're North Korea, I guess you can turn off the internet for North Korea, and that's why North Korea is like North Korea. But the idea that we could, just the cost of turning off the internet now would be, I think it would be unimaginable in the economic, just the economic cost alone. It just would be. So anyway, I mean, just the idea that we've lost the moment to decide whether to hook our most powerful AI to everything, because it's already being built more or less in contact with, if not everything, so many things that you just can't put the genie back in the bottle. That is genuinely surprising to me, and yeah, I mean, incentives.
Is this not the most pressing problem then? Because I was going to start this conversation by asking you the question about the thing that occupies your mind the most and the most important thing we should be talking about. And I in part assumed the answer would be artificial intelligence, because the way that you talk about your intuition on this subject matter, you've got children.
Yeah.
You think about the future a lot. If you can see this species coming to Earth even if it's in the next 100 years, it strikes me to be the most pressing problem for humanity.
Well, I'm as interesting as I think that problem is, and consequential as it is. I'm worried that life could become unlivable in the near term before we even get there. Like, I'm just worried about the misuses of narrow AI in the meantime. I'm worried about, just take the current level of AI we have. We have GPT-4. I think within the next 12 months or 2 years, let's say whatever GPT-5 is, we're going to be in the presence of something where most of what's online that purports to be information could soon be fake, right? Where, like, just most of the text you find on any topic is just fake. right? Like someone has just decided, write me 1,000 journal articles on why mRNA vaccines cause cancer. And give me, 150 citations, write them in the style of Nature and Nature Genetics and Lancet and JAMA,
And
just
publish
put,
them.
and just put them out there, right? Right. One teenager could do that in 5 minutes with the right AI, right? It's just like we're not, GPT-4 is not quite that, but GPT-5 possibly will be that. I mean, it's like that is such a near-term advance, right? Or just when you imagine knitting together the visual stuff like Midjourney and DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion with a large language model. Just imagine the tool. Again, maybe this is 18 months away, maybe it's 3 years away, but it's not 30 years away. The tool where you can just say, give me a 45-minute documentary on how the Holocaust never happened, filled with archival imagery. Give me, Hitler speaking in German, and with the appropriate translations, and give it in the style of Alex Gibney or Ken Burns, and give me 10,000 of those, right? Like that. Like that's all the friction for misinformation has been taken out of the system, and yeah, I worry we're just going to have to declare bankruptcy with respect to the internet. We just are not going to be able to figure out what's real. And when you look at how hard that is now with social media, in the aftermath of COVID and Trump, and how just the challenge of holding an election that most of the population agrees was valid, right? That challenge already is on the verge of being insurmountable in the U.S., right? I mean, it's just like it's easy to see us failing at that, AI aside. Now, when you add large language models to that and the more competent future version of it, where it's just the most compelling deep fakes are indistinguishable from real data, and everyone is siloed into their tribes where they're stigmatizing the information that comes from any other tribe, and the internet is now so big a place that there really isn't the ordinary selection pressures where bad information gets successfully debunked so that it goes away. It's just you can live in a conspiracy cult for the rest of your life if you want to. You can be QAnon all day long if you want to. And now we've got deep fakes shoring all that up, and just spurious, scientific articles shoring all that up. All of this just becomes a more compelling form of psychosis, and culturally speaking. And so I'm just worried that it's going to get harder and harder for us to cooperate with one another and collaborate, and that our politics will just completely break, and that'll offer an opportunity for lots of bad actors. And I mean, and then leaving aside, there's cyber terrorism, and there's synthetic biology that the moment you turn AI loose on the prospect of engineering viruses and all of that, it's like it potentiates. The asymmetry here is that it seems like it's always easier to break things than to fix them, or to categorically prevent people from breaking them. And what we have with increasingly powerful technology is the ability for one person to create more and more damage, or one small group of people, right? And it just turns out it's hard enough to build a nuclear bomb that like one person can't really do it, no matter how smart. You need a team.
All right. 2.5 hours. I don't feel like I accomplished much other than having some breakfast. I'll get with you guys later, yo. Peace.